Okay, this is my 2025 Trek Checkpoint SL6 Gen 3 gravel bike that I just picked up yesterday afternoon from the Trek dealer in Clermont, Florida. So I've been looking at getting one of these bikes for a few months now and finally pulled the trigger on getting one. When I decided to do that, I went back to the Trek dealer in Clermont, sat down with Heather, and she brought it up on her website and ordered the bike for me. And then a few days later it came in, and their team at Clermont put it together for me and got it all squared away, so it was ready to roll. I haven't had a chance to ride it yet. I just picked it up yesterday. I'm hoping to go for a ride probably tomorrow or the next day and see what it's like. But what I'll do today is just do a video on the overall bike and let you get an idea of what it's like. So first thing is, I did have the Trek dealer put some options on this bike that don't come standard. So I'll go over what those options are so you know that they don't come included with the bike. So the first thing is, you see right in the center of the frame the 2 water bottles and 2 water bottle cages. That was an add-on. Down at the front bottom of the frame you see another water bottle cage, and it has that container in there for extra parts and tools. That was an add-on. I've got my Crank Brother pedals on there, which you can clip in on one side and then they're just flat pedals on the other side. So I like using those on mountain bikes and gravel. When I'm riding, I just prefer those pedals, so I'm going to stick with those on this bike. And then the other thing I had added on was the rear rack, which is a Bontrager MIK rack, and then the Bontrager MIK rear rack bag. And that rear rack bag, it just clips right into the rack, so you don't have to strap it down. There's no Velcro straps or tie downs or anything to put that bag on the rack. It just has a spring-loaded clip that clips the bag into the rack and secures it. And then when you want to remove it, it comes with a little tool that you press in on the spring-loaded latch, and then the bag comes right off. And if you forget that tool at home or something, you can always use some other flat-bladed object like a flat-bladed screwdriver and just poke the latch in to get that bag off. But I added those things because I do plan on doing some bike packing with this, and that's one of the main reasons why I went with the Checkpoint over their new Checkmate, which is their gravel race version. Is the Checkpoint has all the mounting points, so if you're going to do any type of bike packing, you can mount your frames and your extra bags and everything, extra water bottle cages on the bike for those type of trips. If I do decide that I want to enter a gravel race on this bike, which I may do occasionally, it's only 4 bolts to take that rack off. So it's held on by 2 bolts up here and then a bolt on each side of the lower part of the frame to put that on there. So that's how that's connected to the bike. So those were the add-ons that I added that did not come included with the bike. Also, when Trek was having their Black Friday Cyber Monday sale on their website, I ordered a couple sets of cycling shoes, and while I was on there ordering that, I also picked up this additional bag which goes on the top tube, so it'll mount right here. And with these 2 mounting points, you see it has the holes in the bag, so it'll actually mount right on there. Now the bag does come with some small screws to mount it on the top, but you can also get these additional screws, these thumb screws from Trek. So I ordered these, and these allow you then to either put the bag on or take the bag off without having any tools. So I just thought this would be a nice option to have, so I picked that up. So now let me go over the bike, and then after I go over the bike, then I'll go over what I plan on adding to the bike fairly quickly as I'm getting into riding it. So this is a carbon fiber frame, carbon fiber fork. I got it in white. They offer 2 colors in the SL6 model. One is the white color and the other one is a blue with, I believe it has like an orange trim to it. So the Checkpoint is offered in 4 models. You have your very basic entry-level aluminum frame model, then you have your SL5, SL6 and SL7, which are your carbon fiber frame and forks, and all 3 of those models have the exact same frame and forks. It's just that the wheel sets and the group sets, the components are different. So as you go with the higher level number, you get better components, better wheels on the bike. So this bike comes with the SRAM Rival 1x electronic group set. It's got a 44 tooth front chain ring, and then the rear cassette is a 10 to 44. Now the one difference when they're going with from the SL5 to the SL6, on the SL5 the rear cassette I believe is an 1144, whereas on the SL6 and the SL7 it's a 1044. Okay, we'll move to the front wheels. And the wheel set is a Bontrager wheel set. It's a Paradigm Comp 25, so they're a 25 width gravel wheel, and they're set up right from Trek as tubeless. So when your bike arrives from Trek to the Trek dealer and the Trek dealer assembles it, they'll put the sealant in the wheels and make sure they're sealing and put the air pressure in there and get them all set up and ready to go. But they are going to come right from Trek, set up tubeless, ready to go that way. Once again, I also went over the SRAM Rival Groupset, and then you got the hydraulic brakes front and rear. Let me just do a quick walk around so you can see what the other side looks like. Another thing that I noticed, when you look at the pictures on their website, it looks like this section right here and the Trek logo looks like it's a light blue or a baby blue color, but actually it's a reflective type color that it changes based on the way the sun hits it or where you're standing. So it may look one color when you're looking at it one way and a little bit different color when you're looking at another, and then it kind of silver kind of stands out on it. So if you're looking at it straight on, it kind of looks like a silver with that middle band and the Trek logo. And then sometimes the way the color hits it, you may see it change into a different type color. Okay, as far as the tires that come on here, they are Bontrager tires, and they're 42 width. You can go up to 50s. Unless you put fenders on your bike. If you put fenders on your bike, then 42 is as wide as you can go. So they'll come stock with the 42s. They are tubeless, puncture resistant tires. In the center, they got more like a road type tread, and then you got knobs on both outsides. So as you get a little past the middle, you start getting your three rows of knobs on each side of the tire. So that should be good for riding, I would think, on like pavement and rail trails and things along those nature. Then when you get off-road onto the gravel or dirt roads, you got those knobs to help dig in, especially when you're going through corners and say, helping the wheels from sliding out on you. So hopefully those tires will work out well down here where I'm going to be riding. I'll have to figure that out when I ride it for a while. The mounting points, as I mentioned earlier, you've got mounting points here. So you got 3 on both sides of the fork where you can either mount extra bottle cages or racks to put additional items in, gear in when you're bike packing. You've got your 2 mounts here, 3 here, and then under the top tube there's also additional mounts, because Trek does make a bag that'll go and bolt to this top tube on the underside, and it'll go from here all the way to the back of the frame. Or they offer a bag that's triangular shaped that'll bolt here and bolt here, and it'll just take up that much of the frame. Now the triangle bag, I just ordered one from the Trek dealer in Clermont, and as soon as it comes in, they're going to give me a call and I'll go pick it up, and then I'll mount that in that section right there. So then I'll end up having a bag here, a top tube bag, and my rear luggage bag on the bike. You do have a storage compartment here, so if you pull this little lever, lift forward and then pull it out, it comes out real easy. It comes with a little kit that you can pull out. You can unwrap this, and then you can put in like a tube, a CO2 cartridge, a tool, a tire tool, some other items, and fold it back up and stick it in here. I'll probably put an emergency tube in that bag, but I'm also planning on storing a really light rain jacket in there. So if I ever get caught out in a rainstorm on one of my rides, I'll have a rain jacket handy in here along with a spare tube. and then I'll have other tools and parts in this right here. And then to put this back on, you just put in the bottom part and then tilt it forward and then just close the lever. So it's really easy to get in there, real easy to lock that thing down after you pull it out and work. Right back here you got your ISO speed suspension. So this allows the rear seat post to flex a little bit back and forth. So as you're hitting bumps, rough terrain while you're out there riding on the gravel roads or dirt roads, you know, you do get some more compliance, some more like kind of like suspension on the rear seat to absorb those bumps and make it a little nicer ride. It's the first time I've had a SRAM group set. All my other bikes are Shimano, but you got your battery right here. You just flip this lever up, the battery comes out, put it in the charger, charge it back up, and then clip it back in. The bike does come with one charger, so you get a single battery charger that's just, it plugs into a USB port to charge the battery up with. You also have this nice rubber chainstay guard here that's on right there, the rear part of the frame underneath the chain. And then you've got this piece right here to keep the chain from derailing and falling off up against the frame. So that's nice to have that in there. Hydraulic disc brakes, your levers, they seem to feel good. So when I was test riding one of the mediums that was an SL5, I know it had the different group set, but these SRAM levers, they felt pretty good. And then when I sat on this one at the dealer and put my hands on it, they felt pretty good. So I think I'm gonna like the hoods on the levers to when you're riding. Haven't had a chance to ride it yet, so what I plan on doing is after I ride it for a couple months, maybe I'll ride it for 2 or 3 months, then I'll do another review and let you know what I overall think of the bike and how it handles, how it works, if I had any problems with it and things like that. So now one of the reasons why I went with the SL6 model, as far as price points, from SL5 to SL6 isn't that big of a jump. It's from like $31.99 to, for this bike, $39.99. But when you go to the SL7, because it comes with an even better group set and it comes with carbon fiber wheels, that jumps up a couple thousand above that. So it was a big price jump from the SL6 to the SL7, and I didn't think it justified the price set. I figure for what I'm going to be using this bike with, for this bike for, this is going to do everything that I need it to do. The one reason why I went with this over the SL5 was the group set. On my Trek Madone, I'm running the Garmin Rally power meter pedals, and those things run for the dual-sided with tax and everything right around $1,000. So they're not cheap. I want to get a power meter on this bike, but I wasn't planning on dropping another $1,000 for power meter pedals. And SRAM offers a spindle crank-based power meter that's like $263, but it won't work on the group set, from what I've been told, that comes on the SL5. You need to be on a Rival or above group set for that spindle power meter to work. So that was one of the reasons that I went with the SL6 over the SL5, was I want to be able to get that power meter and put it on there. The other thing I noticed was that on the rear cassette, and I know you can always just change the rear cassette out after you get the bike or stuff, but this came with the 1044 versus the SL5 that came with the 1144. So I just figure if I'm riding this bike out on the road and I hit a road and I'm hitting a downhill and I want to pick up some speed, I think I'd like to have that 10-speed cog on there versus the 11 being the smallest that I had. So that was another option why I went with the SL6 over the SL5, and why I went with the SL6 over the SL7 was just mainly I didn't think that the price jump warranted getting the SL7. So hopefully you like this. I haven't seen many videos on the new SL6 on the website on YouTube, so maybe this will give you a little better idea of what this bike is like. Oh, as far as sizing, they changed the sizing, so they no longer go with numeric sizing. Like, you no longer see 52s, 54s, 56s, etc., or the smaller sizes. They changed their sizing on these bikes from extra small, small, medium, medium large, large, and extra large. And I'm 5'8", and I have an inseam of 31 inches. And if I was any smaller, I would have probably gone with the small instead of the medium. Right now, when everything feels fine when I'm on this bike, and I test rode a medium in the SL5, which is the same frame size, same setup as far as the geometry goes. I felt fine on the medium. The only thing is when I'm doing a standover on the medium, the top tube, I'm barely clearing it when I'm standing over it. So if you have a 30-inch inseam or shorter, then you might find the medium just a tad too tall for you. So what I'd suggest is before you go out and buy one of these, go to one of your local Trek dealers, see what they have in stock, and see if you can sit on one or take one for a test spin, and make sure you're getting the right size bike, you know, for your height and your inseam and how you want to be set up. So as far as now, the last thing I want to cover is future mods. What I plan on still adding to this bike is, one, I got to put my Garmin mount on. So I'm just gonna, I've got the Bontrager mount on my Madone, which has everything right here on the handlebar mount, and I don't think I'm going to use that on this bike. I think I'm going to just use the regular Garmin mount that just goes right around the handlebar and has the Garmin on top and the headlight or GoPro on the bottom, and I'll go with that. So I'll add that on. I'm going to buy a new rear light that'll actually mount on the rear rack. So, because all the lights that I have right now, if I put them on my seat post, you're not going to see them with that bag back there if I'm riding with the bag in the rear cage on my bike. So I'm going to go ahead and get one that mounts to the actual bicycle rear cage and mounts on there. And then the other thing is, I was talking about earlier, the power meter. I'm going to get the SRAM spindle based power meter, and I'm going to put that on this bike. And I already have the triangle bag ordered from the Trek dealer in Clermont, so that'll go there, the top tube bag. And then I should be set for my shorter trips. If I decide to get into longer bike packing trips, then I'll look at getting different bags for the back so I can carry more stuff with me, especially if I'm going to be hitting campgrounds or doing any type of primitive type camping instead of hitting a hotel. So that wraps things up. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day. Bye.